So we're going to head into the Zoom room where we are checking in with Port Authority of Guam General Manager Rory Respicio. Good morning, Rory.
Good morning, everyone.
How was your Christmas?
We celebrated the birth of Jesus, COVID compliant.
No more than what is the current capacity? 15? 15?
Yeah, no, more than 15.
Right.
But yeah, we had far less than that. We just have to be safer than what the expectation is.
Right, right. So, you guys had a port board meeting, I think it was last week, and I wanted to bring you on really just to kind of get an update on things that are happening over at the Port Authority. So, if you could just kind of
Well,
give us.
Yeah, I'm pleased to report that the port remains 100% operational. We have a very active board, and we have been meeting monthly, and we even been meeting online prior to the pandemic. That's one of the things the governor asked all the agencies to do when they have board meetings, to be able to stream online. But because of the pandemic, we've been going having these meetings via Zoom. We updated the board on many things. We told the board that we're about 6% less in the container throughput year-to-date collection, so that when people are saying that they're going to all these establishments and there's nothing on the shelves, it's really not because there's a backlog at the port, but it's because of their ability or inability to reorder. What we started from the very first moments of the pandemic is Governor Leangura asked us to see what we could do to support the local businesses. We worked with the carriers, and those containers that were on the ship en route to, and I talked about this before, they get 5 free storage days to get their container out. And what I've been able to do with the board's consent is extend these number of free days until such time they're able to get their containers. So this is money that we never projected, and it's money we would have never received had it not been for the pandemic. But what it means is that if you come to the port, you'll see a lot of containers that are stockpiled. And once these businesses open up, they're able to come to the port and get their containers, than having to scramble and order and get those containers in. So we've been able to hold our own in last year's fiscal year. Year to date, we have a projected net income of 4.1 million. And our container throughput is about 0.2% higher last fiscal year than the year before. We're still proceeding business as usual, but understanding though that we have a pandemic, and we are watching our bottom line since day one.
And, is that 6%? Was that more or less than what you were anticipating?
Oh, it's 6% less year-to-date projected. But the way we did our revenue forecast is we took the actual collection experience of last March to July, and we spread that over 12 months. And so for our revenue projection, the board projected based on the numbers we were collecting during the pandemic. And we're still able to stay within our $4.9 million monthly allotment last fiscal year, taking care of all of our debt service. And so this revenue projection didn't even quantify for the military buildup increases. We're going to see a lot of construction activity, and also it didn't account for any tourism. And so once the economy opens up, we're very hopeful that we're going to start to generate revenues that we didn't even project. So it's a very conservative approach to operating in this kind of climate.
One thing you guys approved was this 1 million for the construction of Hagåtña Marina Sea Wall. If you can tell us more about that.
Yeah, that's correct. We're very excited about this. My understanding is that the Fishermen's Co-op was funded through the hotel occupancy tax bond passed years ago. I remember voting for that legislation when I was in the legislature. And in this administration, the Governor Leangura reached out to GITA and asked them to resurrect that whole project. And so they did, and then they saw that it's going to cost $3 million, and they have budgeted $2 million. And the critical element and component to moving forward with that was the building of a seawall. And so since the port has jurisdiction to the Hagåtña boat basin, Governor asked us to work with the board and see if we're able to construct the seawall so that GITA can move forward through its project managers and construct the Fishermen's Co-op. We're very supportive of this simply because it'll create some business opportunity with the Fishermen's Co-op. The governor said that it will increase food sustenance. Fishermen will have a place to go and sell their catch, as well as the development of the aquaculture industry, which is what the governor talked about a lot over and over on the campaign trail. And so when we met with the board, we presented all those ideas and rationale to them, and thankfully they agreed. They also agreed that we weren't going to do the procurement for that there is a project manager through GITA, and that we would be remitting the money based on their own construction schedule. And so that's a really good arrangement that we're going to have with them. And we're just excited about what the Fishermen's Co-op will do to the Hagåtña boat basin area. It'll improve the area. There are our users also, and I think it's a win-win to have a very strong partnership with GITA and the local fishing community and the governor and lieutenant governor in order for this to be a reality.
This seawall, is it basically beefing up the I guess I'm not sure, is it the seawall that's there, or?
No, this is going to be the construction of a new seawall, and it's going to be where the Fishermen's Co-op area is. And this is also the channel into the Hagåtña boat basin. So it's necessary to prevent erosion. And in order to construct that building, the architects have said that they have to harden the foundation in order for that construction to be possible. But this is a long-time dream of Manny Dueñas. And the governor's publicly said that she's always supported Manny Dueñas' vision and the vision of the Fishermen's Co-op. And we were told by Melanie Mendiola and former First Lady Joanne Camacho that they hope to break ground first quarter of next year.
For the co-op or the marine?
For everything, for the whole Fishermen's Co-op project.
Yeah, when you
think... The wall would have to be constructed first.
Right, and I guess would it be kind of like how they opened the farmers market and they built it up, they have their store, so this is kind of like what we're looking at with the Fishermen's Co-op?
Yeah, and it's a place where local fishermen will be able to sell their catch.
Yeah, that's exciting and a long time coming, especially if you know Manny Dueñas, right?
Yeah, and we have our new board member, Dot Harris, who spoke in favor of the port doing this. She used to be a chief planner of the port, and she said it's been decades since that area received any these kinds of attention.
Right.
And the governor walks there daily, so I think she's going to also be like a construction manager for this project.
All right.
Yeah.
Is there anything else? What else are you guys working on over at the port?
Well, we have a lot of procurement projects in the pipeline. As I told the board, we have attorney Tom Keeler, who has been assigned to us by General Camacho and the Attorney General's office. And publicly, I want to say how grateful I am to Attorney Tom Keeler for all that he's done with the area of procurement. He's assigned to public health doing the federal highway projects. But since Tom Keeler's been on board, he's been all about the solutions. How do we get these things done consistent with the procurement law? He's been working closely with our procurement team, Georgine Arceo and others, and all the division heads as end users. Hopefully, we're getting ready to publish the demolition and deconstruction of all of these gantry cranes, the two of them that have been decommissioned. It's a really big project. We also have the two RTGs and another mobile harbor container, and possibly the sunken vessel at F6. And so that's one procurement that's going to be let out. Governor Leon Guerrero did a boat tour with EPA as the lead agency. EPA has been able to identify some federal funds to take care of the derelict vessels. And so there are about 14 vessels throughout the port property, GPA property, as luck would have it, Bree, most of the derelict vessels are on GPA property, the Cabris power plants, and so they're committed to paying just as what the port would pay to individually move those vessels. This is the Harbor of Safe Refuge area. So there's a lot of moving pieces, a lot of projects in the pipeline. We've announced to the board that on January 4th, we've made an offer to Christine Clavera. She's an attorney. She's currently clerking for Judge Borsinas. She accepted the position, but we're hoping to still have Tom for as long as we can, so that we also have a lot of projects. There's leases, there's other legal matters, and so I think that it's going to be a good combination to have someone like Christine working under Tom at least for a few months or so to continue to push forward these procurement projects.
Going back to that derelict derelict vessels, is that in line with that executive order that the governor signed?
Correct. So immediately following the boat tour, and the governor, lieutenant governor on that boat tour, she signed an executive order creating that committee with agriculture, EPA as the lead. And so that executive order is the vehicle to which they tap in those federal funds that Walter is trying to put together.
You said 14 vessels?
Yeah.
Wow. How much is something like that gonna cost?
Well, EPA has 500,000 to start, and so that's 500,000 less that GPA and the port would have to put out.
Right.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a big step forward and a big help for us. This is one of the projects that the administration identified during the transition report to say that the port has to figure out how we can lift those derelict vessels, and the Coast Guard has also been very instrumental. The Coast Guard has have some funds to go in and do contain the fluids, but the Coast Guard would not be the one to lift the vessel out of the water. So it's a good partnership between EPA, the Coast Guard, the Navy, the port, GPA, and agriculture.
How soon are you guys looking at getting that started?
Walter has the executive order that empowers him to do this, and I know he and his team, Jesse Cruz, they've been very aggressive. They tried to have that boat tour mid-year last year, but things kind of changed the plans for a lot of people. And I know that Walter is going to gear up to get that thing done.
All right.
And I really asked the governor if EPA can handle the procurement for that, and it should be one procurement for all of the vessels, so you can capitalize on the economies of scale. You can't bid it out per vessel, otherwise you're going to get a very high price. But if they did it as one big package, the government, local and federal government, may be able to get the highest bang for their buck.
And one thing I also wanted to talk to you about was, the Port Authority. They haven't shut down since the pandemic started. You guys have constantly been working, and you've had your own positive cases over there. You have your own clinic, I want to say. So where is the Port Authority in terms of the line for and the priority groups for vaccinations?
Well, thank you for the question. The Port Authority, we did submit our vaccination recommendation to Arthur Augustine, and who he's bringing it through the committee. From the very beginning, I've said that we're 100% operational as required by the governor, especially in the executive order, and that because we're 100% operational, it's all hands on deck. And that means for all the 358 employees at the port, we're not set up to telework because we can't move cargo containers at home, and we're not able to do billings at home because of the sensitivity of the documents, even procurement, HR. So from the very beginning, I've been telling them you're 100% essential. I didn't want to identify non-essential employees on one day and then call them back because they're essential. And so we did have our scare here at the port. We're at 20 COVID positive cases. We're still mourning the loss of our brother, Henry St. Nicholas. And so I've identified every port employee as tier one, and public health has asked me to go back and take a look at if they're really all tier one, and making the argument that they are. They're all going to be tier one, but what we've done instead is we've asked them to vaccinate all of the dockside workers. These are critical technical positions, and so you need a certified crane operator, you need even the cargo checker, stevedores, and so if something happens, God forbid, you can't just bring in the National Guard and have them run port operations. They're a crew with highly technical and specialized work in their own right. And so we've identified 285 employees at the dockside, from operations, transportation, equipment maintenance, crane maintenance, even the safety division and the harbor master. And then when we get to the administration side, what I've asked public health to consider is to give the vaccines to those employees who have comorbidities or underlying health conditions are considered high risk, whether it's age or comorbidities. And then the third group, as vaccines become available, would be everybody else. And the deputies, Louis, Dominic, and I, we're going to be the last in each category. We believe that the frontliners should be vaccinated first, as they should be. And we got a really good response from Arthur St. Augustine. He said that port employees through the CDC guidelines are deemed essential. And this also goes for our industry partners, because public health is not just vaccinating government employees, they're vaccinating even the industry partners and individuals. We saw private healthcare nurses get vaccinated, and then now they're going, which they should, to the 75 and above for Manamco, their very vulnerable community. And once we get them called to mobilize, I'm sure public health has their own survey forms that we can survey the employees to see if they would take it or not. So we're just waiting patiently, but vaccine or no vaccine, it's not going to change the behavior here at the port. Employees are still wearing masks, social distancing, washing hands. And Bri, I'm very proud of the employees, because I've really seen a transition in the positive direction, that when employees are even in their smoke break and they're congregating, if they don't have an active cigarette in their mouth, another employee will yell at them and say, "Hey, put your mask on." And so in the employee lounge, they build plexiglasses. They're making sure that they're not congregating all at the same time. And it really hit hard when Henry passed away. You could see a lot of employees saying that his death is not going to be in vain, and they're going to do everything they can. And his wife publicly came out and said whatever she experienced and all that pain and tragedy, she doesn't want anybody else to go through that. And so her message really resonated with the Port Strong family. And so vaccine or no vaccine, even those that get vaccinated will still have to wear their mask, social distance, wash hands. So we're patiently waiting. You mentioned we never stop working. Not a single division at the port shut down. Yeah. The closest we came was when we had to test the tariff division. And this is the division that clears the containers and does the billing. We had to move them from one section to another section of the port, which is the boardroom, and they had a makeshift operation just so they can clear the containers. But we're not going to make the argument that the port employee is more important than another employee, especially, God forbid, more important than a Manamco. We're just going to say that we submitted our plan to public health, and also public health has asked each department and agency, each corporate entity, to take a look at those areas where you cannot social distance. Yeah. And so don't vaccinate your employees who are teleworking. Don't vaccinate your employees who can socially distance, who can work within those parameters. And so for the port, we cannot socially distance because of the kind of environment that we're in. We cannot telework because of the kind of environment we're in. We have been finding ways to reduce the population at work, like if they clear a vessel on time, way ahead of schedule, since those are already built to the carriers. That's called a guaranteed work shift. So they've been able to, maybe once every few weeks, they've been able to have probably a couple hours of RTO at home. But those RTOs, I've clarified that it's not to be factored as part of the overtime unless they hit 40 physical hours here at work. But despite that, I don't know if you've been to the port lately, but they cleared out the seawall. That was our maintenance division, that whole seawall area at the port property. The governor and lieutenant governors asked us to see what we can do to help with the veteran cemetery. And so we had a crew there with the heavy equipment, with the water blaster, helping veteran cemetery administrator Tim Uggan bring, and other community people that's come out to help the veteran cemetery, to bring the cemetery up to a certain standard where they can apply for grants to maintain it.
Nice.
And so that's part and parcel to what we've been doing outside of port operation.
All right. Well, certainly thank you, Rory, for coming on and giving us the update. We're about to end 2020. Excuse me. What are you looking forward to in 2021? Or looking forward to say goodbye to 2020?
Yeah, I think we're all looking for some semblance of normalcy. I think that this is for us here at the port, this has been the new normal. And I'm always grateful and appreciative, Dominic, Louie, and I, that our port families accepted us to be part of their port family, that they understand that everything we do is for the greater good, and that we don't play favorites, that it's part of the Young Orochimaru administration's philosophy of fairness, accountability, transparency, and it's not just what I'm saying, is we're seeing it in the awards that we're getting, national and local recognition. The Association of Government Accountants just came out and gave the Port Authority a Platinum Award for accountability and transparency. And that's the first ever award for the port. And then we also got a national recognition, which was the first ever award for the port. And so the first year, we went from 103,000 net negative to about 7.5 million. We paid off some bills that we found ourselves in, and so we had a net negative income of 3.5 million. Like I said, we're on course to have a net income of 4.1 million. We've been able to pay some attention to the Hagåtña Boat Basin by helping to construct that seawall, which the governor's asked us to do. We're moving forward with our port modernization projects, and I just hope that 2021, with the new senators that come in, with the new legislature that comes in, that they recognize the good things that have happened this administration. And like our philosophy is, if when we came in, Bree, whatever was working, we kept. We didn't change a single thing that was working. Whatever needed a little bit work, we tweaked. And whatever didn't make sense, we just did away with it, and we shift courses. And so in 2021, I'm hoping we could see a lot more cooperation. I'm looking forward to seeing who my oversight chair would be in the legislature.
Well, it's not going to be Joanne.
Well, and if it is...
No, because it's a Republican minority.
If that's the luck of the draw, I will work with her. I've congratulated her on her winning a seat. And I think that it's going to take all 15 senators and the governor, lieutenant governor, and all the mayors, all the cabinet members to just let the past be the past. And that's the beauty about elections, right? And the beauty about inaugurations is you get an opportunity to come out and say, hey, let's just let the past be the past. It's a new term. Let's see what happens, and let's see who's gonna cast the first stone. We saw President-elect Biden reach out to Mitch McConnell and congratulate him, which irritated the heck out of President Trump. But I really think that the cooler heads will prevail. There's a lot more that we have to do at the port, and I'm looking for to build more partners beyond the port users group. All the carriers will tell you that it's a very different pool, and it's really because of the employees. And it's a very different environment here because of the employees. We never came in and said we're going to change all those things. We came in and said, identify the changes that you've been longing for, and let us be that catalyst to change. And we've all worked to aspire to that area. I just hope that 2021 sees no more COVID-19 deaths, that people don't get sick. I caught the interview with Michelle. I hope that they find Michael. This is a tough interview to do right after the interview you just did. So I want to give some recognition to the families out there that are going through a lot in whatever capacity they're in. Everybody has a struggle, and that's how we see the Port family. We just, I mean, I'm getting ready to do a climate survey to address the first 2 years of our being here. And the climate survey will build upon our commitment to giving every employee a voice. And it's gonna ask them, they're gonna be able to submit a survey anonymously, and it's gonna ask them, do they believe, do they understand our vision, the administration's vision, the board's vision? Do they feel respected in the workplace? Do they feel that they're contributing to the port? Do they, I mean, just all kinds of things. Do they believe that they're given the training they need? Do they believe they have promotional opportunities at the port? Do they believe that management has been fair? And I'm really excited to see what the results of that market survey, the climate survey, is going to be, and that we'll share that. Although I could feel that morale is high, productivity is high, I could feel employees are happy. I want to know if it's a case of going along to get along, and I want to speak to every single port employee to get their feedback. And I'm also going to do it based on demographics, and we love data, right? We're always trying to make decisions based on data, based on financials. And I want to see if the employees 0 to 3 years, or 3 years to 5 years, all the way to 25 to 30 years and 30 years plus, I want to see those demographics, and if they believe in the Port Strong philosophy. I want to see those older employees by service, not by necessarily by age. I want to see if they're just paycheck employees, that they're just coming to work, ready to retire, because those kind of attitudes kind of bring the organization down if their heart's not in it, and if their mind's not in it, and if they don't believe they're part of the team. And so if we don't have a consultant doing this. This is Francine Rocho, Bernadette Meno, and just the team here at the port. We're looking at, I think, SurveyMonkey. You could create and we're being guided by what other corporate companies are doing, and we're going to do this in-house, and we're going to be very honest with the data, and we're going to share the data with the board, with the governor, lieutenant governor, and the administration. But also we're going to share the data with the employees, because if they don't feel the same way I feel about the port, then certainly I have to be a better leader together with Louis and Dominic. So that's what we hope 2021 will bring here for the port. Make the employees feel like we just have to stay the course, and we just have to do everything that we can do. Vaccine or no vaccine, yep. We're gonna wait in line. We're gonna hope public health agrees with our recommendation, and if they don't, I'll yield to them. We never wanted to be a burden on public health. We're very grateful that Arts and Augustine and Annette Uggan, Dr. K, they've allowed us to do our own contact tracing. They've allowed us to do everything we can so that we're not a burden on public health that has to service other agencies and the people of Guam. So in 2021, I hope to see all of the good in 2020 and leave all of the bad in 2020.
Yeah, we
hope
all.
That makes sense.
Well, thanks, Rory. Happy New Year to you, the family, and your port family.
Thank you. Take care. Stay safe.
Stay safe. Okay, still to come on the link, we are going to be heading over to Ukadu High School. We're going to be checking in with Adriana Cotero. The vaccination clinic for Islands Manumco is just getting underway. It just got underway at 9 o'clock, and it's still 3 o'clock this afternoon. For anybody that's 75 years of age or older, you have to register first with your village mayor in order to get vaccinated, in order to get in the line. And she's going to take us through the process and tell us what people need to know before they even head over there, or, for those that aren't there yet. So stay tuned.